My name is Eddie C, and welcome to my positive podcast. I'll bring you positive stories of people from all walks of life, because everyone has a story to tell. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to MPP, my positive podcast, and I'm your host, Eddie C. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the word divine, what it means to my guests, and how they use it in their daily lives. My first guest is a television maker, hobby singer, and also has a great philosophy about how she likes to look at life. My second guest is a wonderful painter, a fantastic vocalist, singer-songwriter, and she's going to tell how she helps her students along the way and what painting means to her and how divine that can be. So if you're curious about their stories, tune in and stay positive. My name is Eddie C, and you're listening to my positive podcast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a very special lady. We've been friends for years on Facebook and then actually didn't have much contact with each other until a few weeks ago at a gig of mine. And we started talking and I saw this beautiful artwork of hers. But actually, she's more known as a vocalist and teaching at the conservatory in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Please welcome my next guest, Miss Sylvi Lane. How you doing there, lady?
Yes, hello, Eddie. Good to be here with you. I'm doing fine. It's only sunny weather here in Holland for weeks and continuing to be so.
Oh, that's wonderful. Here it's partially cloudy and hopefully...
Well, actually, a little bit of sun here. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, listen, Can you tell my guests and my listeners and a little bit more about yourself, your background, and your roots and how you got involved in music and art?
Yeah, I think for me the best way to put it is that my parents, when I was around 5 until 11, they had a sort of a party center where all the Dutch bands were performing, and there was a theater group and they perform, and a brass band that was rehearsing. So, that must have been the roots, because I was always on stage. They got me to bed, but then all the noise started and I heard music and I got out of bed and try to be on stage as quick as possible. So that was my start of it all. And after that, I don't know, the main thing for me, or the main love of my life was always music. So, you go to the record stores, you sit in front of the record stores because, this album is coming, and crazy about music, actually. It was only that. So it was very clear that was what I was going to do in my life. But I didn't play one instrument. And on high school, I was with Leo Bouwmeester. I'm not sure if you know him. He's a piano player. Mm-hmm. And, he introduced me to a band. And so that's actually where it started. So I was in the band. I started singing. And
how old were you?
I think I was like 17.
Okay, so it's a teenager.
It's not even, it's quite late, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I started when I was 7. So
Yeah, well, I was singing, but not really in a band or something like that. And the funny thing, what happened was, so Leo, he was going to the Conservatory of Amsterdam. And then we formed a little trio with bass player and drums. And they gave me, for my birthday, the real vocal book. And I started with the letter A. And the first vocal real book went on to the letter L. And so somewhere in between, I chose my songs. And then I did the audition at the Conservatory of Amsterdam.
Oh, fantastic.
And and that's where I stayed, until now. So that's quite some time, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. So, you're being a vocal teacher now as well. I've spoken to actually one of your former students who's on one of the earlier going to be on one of the other shows, and you're being based in Amsterdam. But now, I looked at some of your paintings on your Facebook page as well as on your website, with the stuff that you're doing. And I was quite surprised at how multi-talented you are in your artwork.
Yeah. Probably, I think if you are a creative person, you can do a lot. Don't you think so?
Well, I believe that as well.
There are many musicians who are also painting or
painting, photography, exactly. Cooking.
Cooking. Yes, let's cook.
It's a creative. Well, being a musician it's a wide platter, I think, because we're always influenced by our life's experiences. I was listening to one of your albums, the one song about I think it was called
Blind Spot.
Yeah,
Blind Spot.
I was quite drawn to that number because I'm listening to your lyrics and quite poetically telling a lot about experiences around you, and that's pretty interesting to listen to that song, musically as well as the lyrical content.
Yeah, I think my lyrics are. I mean, of course, lyrics can be about love. And but I also like to write about how you experiencing things and how you become more of yourself and how you become better, the better you, right? So that's I think one of the things in my songs. Another thing that for me is like you can write about stuff that's difficult in your life, but I can never only write about something that's really grim and dark. And not giving an answer how to get to the light somewhere. So there's always this twist somewhere. So like even Flowers Grow on Stone. That's another song on that album that has more.
Very good song.
Yeah, that has more of that into it. It's also in the title, of course. I don't know. And I have the same thing with my paintings. So my paintings are really colorful. So it's very. I want to try to paint in black and white or shades of gray. I'm going to anyway, because I think I have to try that. But they are colorful so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very, very colorful, and I'm more of a street photographer.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of my photos in post editing. I kind of like this sort of dark, drawn, detailed black and white pictures.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You have to come to see my exhibition, of course. All right, that's great. That's great. Fantastic. Getting back to your painting, how did that come about? Because you were saying music was your main thing that you did, and at a certain point, it was like, okay, all of a sudden you decided you wanted to paint, or was this something that was also coming up as you were growing up as a teenager or as a child?
Yeah, well, I was drawing, and actually, when I auditioned for the conservatory, I also did that for the School of Arts in The Hague. But then back then, I only had drawings, and that was not enough. And after that, I went for the music, and I think about 19 years ago, I thought, okay, I have to try. So then I bought some stuff and I started a few paintings, but then something happened and I was too busy with everything. And so it got out of my system again. And then 5 years ago, it starts itching and I had this urge like, okay, I have to do it. And I was... at that point, I was also working a lot at the conservatory. I was a coordinator of the vocal department. So there was a lot of work. And something happened in my life. And then all of a sudden, I had more room and more space and time. And the first thing I did, I would draw all the stuff out of my closet, all the paint and what I had there. And I started, and I could not stop until now. Yeah.
All right.
And it's that same thing, you have the urge to create, you have the urge to make music, write songs, make paintings. It doesn't matter what it is, but you need to. It's not it's not something like, oh, shall I do this? No, you have to.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's all part of following. Oh, I said if you follow what you're normally our lives are sort of like pointed out for us, depending on how our thought process is. And I really believe that the minute that you're doing the things that you really like to do, you're going to attract more of that towards you.
Yeah.
And the right people, and also the lifestyle that you, in fact, wanted to live in the first place,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works that way. Yeah. Sometimes you can aim for something that you really, really like or want to happen, and then you go for it like 2,000%, and it's running away from you. And actually, if I look back, all the things in life that it came to me, it's not really that you don't do a thing for it. It's probably because you express something that you attract people, like you say, that want to do things with you and or offer you a job or work or ask you for projects. Yeah, it works that way.
All right. Well, we're going to get down to our last question because I know you have a very busy schedule. Constantly busy, hard to catch up with sometimes.
I'm not that busy. I'm also very busy with very happy things, like going out with my friends.
But that's why you're busy, because they're happy things, basically, All right. I'd like to ask you our third question, of course, which is my main question of the theme. And our theme is about is the word divine. And I'd like to know, what does divine not only mean to you, but also for you?
Yeah. I thought I really had to think, of course, about that word. The first thing that came up was like, okay, sometimes you call a dish divine food. But that's not really what it's about. I think divine is in things like a blackbird that is singing. That's why I paint birds in my, you see them in my paintings.
Right.
A bird is, for me, it's freedom. And that's a divine thing too, freedom. A very important word nowadays, I think, even more. And
even more so.
Yeah, even more so. And divine is also, of course it's in music and it's in art, in any way, but it's there where you create stuff and there where it connects with people. So it's in the connection and in the sharing. That's where I think the divine is. And there's one other thing I like to say about divine, and that is when you write a song, many times, and you hear it from other people too, afterwards you're like, okay, but this song already exists, or where did this came from? It's like you are channeling. It's not that you are making up stuff. It's like it's channeled. It's already there, and it flows through you, and it goes for painting, goes for writing, and yeah.
Well, basically everything. Your thoughts, your hidden thoughts, we're all connected. I always believe that we're all connected in some form or fashion, and that you get those signals. They just come. They come to you, especially being a creative person. They come to you, and at that moment, you just feel like, I need to do this, and that's a divine moment when you start to do it and you see it, the creativity coming out, and it's starting to become something that you can share with others.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you advise, let's say, some of the younger people who are, you're teaching at the school, or someone who from the younger generation, because of course we've had this pandemic behind us and things are starting to open up again to a degree, although there's rumor again that there's another variation coming, and it seems to be pretty bad,
Don't say it.
But okay, and this is why we were talking about freedom being an important factor today, even more so. But what would you tell younger people today who have their dreams, they want to achieve and want to try to make happen? What advice would you give them?
The advice? Well, I think, of course, I'm teaching at a conservatory, but what I always say to students is do what you and how you like it. There's an inside world and there's an outside world. And inside you have rules that you learn about music, but please cross the rules, because otherwise there will not be art if you do what it already exists. Or so create new stuff and do it by your own rules and settings. And that's one of the things that I always say. So it's very, it almost sounds anti-conservatory, which is not really, because it's really about creativity. And what I see, of course, like everything has been closed. They could not really mix up and play together. And that's, so I hope that it'll stay open for longer now this time. Because I see how happy they are. That, you can go to, every evening you can go to a session in Amsterdam, at least one session, and play there with others.
Right.
And that's because that's the main thing to do. What the good thing was in the last couple of years is that everyone started to create inside more. So started to write and record, and all these recordings are, of course, online. We have a platform online, so there are in that way more possibilities. So the work scene changed, and that they have to think in that direction too. And they are. I mean, they are the inventors.
Okay, let me ask you one last question. What is your most divine moment you've experienced up to now?
Oh my gosh, my most divine. Oh, that's so difficult because I had so many, I think actually, for me, that was the first moment that I put out all my paint and I put it on the table. And I started. And that moment was, for me, it felt like physically something totally changed. As if, I don't know, it's hard to explain. So maybe that's why I call it divine. And it made me so incredibly happy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experiences and telling us a little bit about yourself. And I'm sure that my listeners will also have a divine moment when they hear this interview with us together.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
This is My Positive Podcast with Eddie C. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a dear friend of mine. We actually met about 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, at a police convention in the Netherlands. And she was one of the speakers as well as me. And we started to talk, and over dinner, we had a nice conversation. And then I said, well, one day when I decide to do something special, I definitely would like to involve you. And so she's going to be on my show today with this special topic about divine. Please welcome my next guest, Miss Natasha M. Hey, Natasha, how are you?
Hey, hi, friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since we've spoken with each other. And it's good to see you. And you're looking well and happy, and that's very important. It's also positive because we're all about positive energy on this program.
Yeah. No, it's nice that you want to have me on your show, and I've listened to quite a few episodes, and I'm impressed. And also, you have some huge names and some very important people on your show, so. I'm very delighted, and thank you that you will have me.
Well, I'm honored to have you on as well.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's go right into it. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself and your background? I mean, I know some things, but it would be nice to brush my listeners up on your background and what you're doing now.
Okay. Well, my name is Natasha, and I'm 40 plus. I've been in the media business for over 20 years, producing a lot of TV shows and also a lot of drama series. Had different roles, as I might say. And then the past couple of years, I've been, as I'm growing older, I've been developing more into a mental coach, more on that department. And what can I say about it? I'm a very creative person, and also that's where our connection is, right? The singing, the music, and we met, as you say, on a police event, and I was one of the speakers.
Yeah.
And yeah, what else can I say?
Well, what got you started into the whole media industry? I mean, because it's not something that just came overnight.
Well, the funny thing is, I never dreamed about doing that. When I was a child, as young as I was, I always wanted to be a singer, a dancer, and an actress. And when I was, really young, one of my parents introduced me to the Fame series, and I loved it. And I watched it with my sisters, and I used to dance and sing while watching the show and pretend I was in it. And that's what I desired. I wanted to go to the Fame school. Right. That's what I wanted to do, right? Okay. And I wanted to entertain, and I was always entertaining, whether it was at a party, dancing or singing, or back then, lip syncing was a big thing, right? That's what I was doing. And that's what I wanted to do with my life. And then, life happened to me. And I know now that life should have happened for me, but back then life happened to me. And so all my dreams, I didn't pursue them, and I just had to sort of like survive on a daily basis. And then moreover than 20 years ago, I sort of like by accident came in contact with the media, and then thought, oh, wow, let's work in this business.
You went to a people and decided to do that. How did it all come about?
Well, there was, I was involved. I was one of the first members of a new broadcasting company. And there are members of the board, but there also have to be members who are, that are a member, like a member to the company. And so I was that, and so I was working somewhere else, but I was a member, and I got involved in that way. And then I did that for, I don't know, about over a year. And then in my life, things changed. I was looking for a new job, and because they knew me, they said like, "Oh, come and work here. Help us out for a week." And I did that, and well. It was so great, and I was supposed to go to a new job, but then I ended up staying there. And first, I was not involved in making programs at all. I was just, working in communication. And well, then after a couple of years, things changed, and I started to become involved in really making TV programs.
All right.
And I started at the bottom. And, doing the most easiest jobs and just helping out, and, develop and then start producing.
Okay. And still going strong, as they say.
Yeah. But now, as I said, I do think, because I also grow older, you start to see things in a different way, right? And things... Absolutely. Other things become more important to you. And I think my passion is really in the media. I mean, if I walk into a studio, something happens inside of me, right? I can't explain it. Well, I think you understand what I'm talking about. When you get on a stage or whatever, something happens to you, and you feel, you feel the need to be there, and you feel like this is where you belong. That's what I feel as well. But I also think that I think there are other things more important in life. And so I changed my direction into another thing. And especially, that's the funny thing, is also for the past 2 years, I don't know about you, but I think the crisis made me look at things in a different way as well.
I think it made a lot of people look at life from a whole different perspective. And hopefully, like I said I would say to most of my guests, I said I think it's very important that we try to pick the positivity out of the whole negative thing that we went through with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And use that as a building block to move forward in a more positive direction with the things that we want to do and have a lot of passion for, you know?
Exactly.
Speaking about that, I know that outside of working in the media, that singing is also a very big passion of yours, and you have a lovely voice, because I've heard some of your demos, and really a beautiful voice. And I was quite surprised.
Thank you.
I was quite surprised at what I heard. Are you doing anything more with that at the moment, or is that something which is still on a sort of a low burner until something really interesting comes along for you?
Well, it is a bit on a low burner for me right now, but as I say, the past 2 years, the crisis have made me look at things differently. And I think before the crisis, I was always in a rush, right? I was always working. That was the most important thing. And I do have to say, like, what I think another thing is very important is conversation and meeting people, right? Mm-hmm. That is important as well for me. But I wasn't busy. I was pleasing other people by doing a job for them. And instead of pursuing my dreams and being busy with my hobbies, you know, right. And besides singing, I love to dance. Before, so many years ago, I used to go to dance classes. I haven't done it in such a long time, you know, and I think life is short. You should do that right now. Absolutely. While you're still healthy. Absolutely. And when you still got, you know, the strength and the energy to do that. But I'm also a poet, right? I write poetry. Mm-hmm. And also that I didn't do that for such a long time, because if you work that hard, my mind isn't free enough to think about things, mm-hmm. you know. Now during the crisis, I realize, make time for that. That is the most important thing. And so I'm busy right now with trying to look at how do I want the rest of my life to look like? Right. You know, what do I want to do? What is it that I desire? And I don't think the way my life was before the crisis, I want to go back to that. I want to really, you know, give meaning to it and go back to the essence of life. Okay. And, you know, I think I don't know if you have, you know, as a 40 plus woman, I don't know if you have also a young audience, but I think like also that's because of having an eventful life, where at a young age, I wasn't able to pursue my dreams and you know, go for my talent and my passion. I couldn't help that, right? Because, well, life happened to me. But I think if I could go back and change that, right. It would be that. And I would like to give the advice to every young person who's listening to your podcast. That is great if you want to be the new Lionel Messi, if you want to be the new Beyonce, if you want to become the new Steve Jobs. If you're good at something and you have a talent and a passion for it, go after it. But also remember not to let yourself be pressured into it by, for instance, your parents. And so that you have to, if you want to become Lionel Messi, that every day you're out on the field playing football, go out with your friends, go out and have a good time, sit at the park and meet people and have friends. Because those friendships that you build when you are a child are the most important thing, because they will be with you, you know, when you grow older. And I also, you know, finish your school, because that will make life much easier for you. And then beside that, go and follow your dream and become the new Lionel Messi, but you will have so much more to bring to life, and then later on to your family, to your partner, but also for yourself. I feel that I had all these dreams as a child, wasn't able to do that, had to drop out of school when I was really young. And I'm happy with my life and who I am today. But I think like if I could do it all over, that I would do that differently.
Sure.
So that's a little advice I want to give, because now I'm a 40-plus-year-old woman and I need a crisis to make me look at things differently and think like, oh my God, I need to change things, right?
Well, that's been proven through history that in a lot of cases that it usually takes some kind of crisis in a person's life to wake them up to explore and discover the thing that they really want to do. I mean, I've gone through it as well over the years, and it's been a revelation for me to be able to come out and discover the things that I really want to do and that I really like. Yeah, I made choices many years ago when I left the States and moved to Europe and decided to stay here, in fact, because I came for one reason to study sociology and ended up becoming a professional musician. And I've had a very fruitful life. I cannot complain. I've had some wonderful experiences and I've been very fortunate about that. And one of the things that I want to touch back on, which leads up to our next question about what divine means, not only to you, but for you, is that divinity that we find in life about our passions is very important, but getting back to that question, I want to know, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. Well, if you say divine, I immediately start to think about the divine Miss M, Miss Bette Midler. But what does it mean? I also think when you say the word divine, I think about a divine intervention. And I think I've experienced that quite a few times in life. And I think I just said like how my life was before and that my work was always important, but I also said like what was important to me as well was like having a conversation and meeting people. And that's, for instance, how we met. And that first afternoon and then evening and then the next morning we went on a hilarious journey, right?
Absolutely.
Those are the things those are the things that are important. And I think like a divine intervention is I think what the crisis learned us is that what is really important in life, the essence of life, right? Mm-hmm. That in the beginning of the crisis, we were all, we had to stay home and we had to either be or by ourselves or with our partners or our family. And then almost everything went online. You get your groceries online and you stayed in the house. And that was good like in the beginning, but I think like everybody found out how important it was to meet people, and whether you want to go to the pub and have a drink or you want to go to the park and meet people. But we need other people.
Absolutely.
And we need to have contact, and not only have contact, having a real conversation, but also have like physical contact. Yeah. Putting your hand on somebody's shoulder and look them in the eye, and our body language is so important. The funny thing is I don't know if you remember, but just around the time of the elections in United States, that was like during your lockdown in Belgium, and we were texting, and then you call me up and you said like, you're doing that right now with all of your friends. You're calling them up instead of texting because it's so important to really hear each other's voice and to speak to each other and to stay in contact. And we talked for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
It was a long conversation. I remember, yes.
It was, and we talked about all kinds of things. And you also said, like, it felt like hanging out, right?
Absolutely.
And that was, those things are important in life. And I'm talking about what divine means to me. When I say a divine intervention is what I have experienced quite a few times is one story is about a couple of years ago, and I was pretty much in misery, right? I had this huge problem on my mind, and I needed to talk to somebody. And I was waiting in a park before a meeting, and I really badly needed to talk to somebody. And inside of me, I was thinking, oh my God, I just wish I could talk to somebody right now about my problems. And a lot of times we're judgmental about what other people think or whatever. So a lot of times I don't feel free enough. And I think a lot of other people experience as well. You don't feel free enough to talk about something. And the funny thing is, I was waiting in the park. It was, I think, springtime. And I was sitting on a bench waiting before my meeting. And I think it was about 50 minutes from my meeting. And all of a sudden, I felt the need to look to the left. And there was a guy coming towards me, and he was very well dressed. He was in a suit. He had a suitcase, a trolley. And on the trolley was on the suitcase was a Catholic cross.
Right.
And he was wearing like a Jewish skull cap. And I don't know, I had to look at this man, right? And then I went back to, just looking in front of me. But I had to look again to this man. And the man stopped near the bench. And he asked me if he could sit down on the bench. Well, I don't own the bench, so yeah, of course. But this man was so well dressed, and I was like, oh my God, maybe it's dirty, whatever. But I said, like, yeah, sure. And he sat down, and I don't know, something inside of me said I needed to connect with this man. And so I looked at him, and I asked him, I said, are you a tourist? Are you on a journey? And then he said to me that he was on a journey. And I said, okay. He said he traveled, that it was his purpose in life. And I was like, okay, what do you mean with that? And he was a missionary. He says, I go where God sends me. And he says, God sends me to help people.
Okay.
So I need to go where people need me. And I don't know. I looked up at the sky, and I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you. And, but my meeting was, it was almost time to go to my meeting. And he said some other things, and it was like, okay, I think this man was sent here for me.
Right. That was a divine moment.
My God, yeah, it was. But I needed to go away. And so I said to him, I said, like, look, I sort of like said, like, I think you're here for me. And I said, like, but I need to go away right now. Are you here tomorrow? And yeah, he says, God will send me away, if I'm done here and I need to go somewhere else to help people. Okay, so we met the next day, and we chatted for hours, and never met after that. Chatted for hours, never knew each other's name. And yeah, I think that's a divine intervention.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful story. Well, on that story, I'd like to thank you for coming on and sharing a part of your life and what you've gone through and what you're busy with. also to my listeners, and I'm sure that they will enjoy listening to our talk as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on. And, keep the healthy lifestyle and keep a divine lifestyle going as well. And everything will fall right into place. It was always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. Thank you so much. And good luck to you as well.
Thank you very much. This is MPP, and I'm Eddie C. Well, I hope you enjoyed my interview with my two divine guests. Now, let's just take the word divine for a moment. A lot of people refer to it in a religious way, but it's much more than that. It could be that cup of coffee in the morning that you drink and the aromas trigger your senses. It can also be the inspiration you get when you see your team win a sporting event. It could be a little child outside in nature, just playing and having fun. It could also be that moment where you come home after working and you sit in your chair or your sofa, and as you sit, you say, aha. That's also a divine moment. So on those words, here's my quote. Divine. Unexpected but influential events or moments that touch your life in an unexplained spiritual way. A calling to achieve and do great things, not only for yourself, but for others. The elements of doing things from the heart and not expecting anything in return, but giving a needed moment to a total stranger. Receiving that which may be coincidence, but is much more as a sign of true divinity. Well, that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But before I go, I'd like to thank my guests, Natasha M and Sylvi Lane, for coming on and telling us what divine means to them. And remember, you don't necessarily have to be in a church to feel divine. Until next time. You can find me on all platforms like Spotify, Android, and Apple. On Facebook, look for My Positive Podcast, and my website is mypositivepodcast.com. You can also contact me via my website or Facebook. A very special thanks to my technical producer, Iswan. This show is a production by Antwerp Podcast Service. My name is Eddie C, and this was MPP, My Positive Podcast. Tune in next week and stay positive.